What up, cucks? It's your boy, the Hater, and it's time for another edition of Hater Outdoors, motherfuckers. Hater Outdoors. The Hater keeps growing with each video. We're making big moves. We're making some pretty good money, so thank you all for that. The Hater never thought it would get to this point. The Hater started this out as the hobby that it still remains. And while I'm not saying that I'm making thousands of dollars, I now do believe that one day I will be doing exactly that, making thousands per month, and the Hater could not have done it without you. And the Hater is thinking of ways to reward his loyal fans. Maybe a Hater sweepstakes, maybe a Hater contest, you know? One of my loyal fans, I would say his name, but I don't know if he wants me to reveal it. He created a wrestler of the Hater for WWE 2K24. So I'm trying to download that. If I can't, then maybe I'll do a contest. Whoever can create the best Hater gets, like, I don't know, a gift card for a couple of $100 or something. You know what I mean? But I'm going to do something to reward my fans because obviously I couldn't have done it without you, you know? This started out as just something that literally in 5 minutes, I was taking a piss and I was like, why don't I start a YouTube channel? I didn't think about it at all. I was like, how about the Hater? All of this within 5 minutes, and I recorded a video. And that video is still up. It's my first video. So, if the Hater can do anything, and that is anything of value, it's this. Do it. If you have anything that you want to do, whether it's a hobby, whether it's starting a business, whether it's doing anything for fun, don't do it for the money necessarily, or hell, do it for the money. But do it, because you can. The amount of people that have told the Hater that I would never get any views, I can count on a lot of hands, motherfucks. But there are people that have believed in me. More importantly than all of that, I've believed in me. The Hateful Eight have believed in me. And together, we're going to keep growing and we're going to keep moving on to other things. Obviously, wrestling will remain a focus of this channel, but the Hater will do big things. You can take that to the bank, motherfucks. And I believe in each and every one of you. So I know that some of you have your own YouTube channels. Now, I'm not sure who does and who doesn't, but if the Hater can plug you, I'm not going to be like Technical Work Rate Productions, where they went after me saying, oh, you want clout. The Hater is all about growth. This is not a zero-sum game. The Hater wants to grow with all of you. So whatever it is, if the Hater can help, shoot the Hater an email at indiewrestlingsucks.com. or at gmail.com, I should say, motherfucks. And with that being said, let's get to our video du jour, the Raw review. I actually watched Raw last night, but in the middle of Raw, my Hulu decided to do a fucking, what's it called, an update. Now, I pressed yes, do the update, because Raw was recording. So when I went there, it was all screwed up. I don't like the new Hulu format, if you ask me. So I wasn't able to really watch it efficiently. I had to watch all the commercials, etc., etc. So, by the time I finished Raw, it was too late for me to do this video because I was tired, motherfucks. So here we are today. Let's see if I remember most of it. I think I do, but let's get to it. So first of all, pardon me, we start out with a pretty decent segment. Jey Uso comes out over as hell. I can't deny it, you know what I mean? The Hater is starting to like Jey Uso because he represents something good. Given absolute shit, he has made something of himself. And the Hater appreciates that. The Hater wishes that more wrestlers were capable of doing this. Jey Uso comes out and cuts a Jey Uso promo. Nothing special here, but he's growing into his own promo style, and I like it. Chad Gable comes out. This is basically a Money in the Bank promo. It's I'm going to win, no, I'm going to win, right? But it turns into Jey Uso basically saying, look, Chad, you know, like, I'm going to win. And Chad says, like, I'm going to win, and Jey Uso basically says, well, you pissed off the Wyatts, so you need to worry about that, right? And they go back and forth on that. The Wyatt little, you know, music thing, the little down, 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 that shit starts, right? Nothing happens except for, what's it called? Chad Gable running away from the Wyatts, and everywhere he goes, he runs into one of the other ones until he's able to escape unscathed. Then we see Nikki Cross giving Michael Cole another VHS tape. So, in other words, this was a colossal waste of time. Now, in my personal opinion, if you're going to do the debut now 3 weeks ago, if we count weeks based on number of episodes of Raw, then why did you do it like that? Why not just have what happened today happen first, right? And then Nikki Cross gives the tapes, and then the Wyatt family debuts. That seems to be more logical to me than debuting them, and then now all they do is give out tapes. I understand they want to milk this, but in my personal opinion, this is already dead on arrival. So that happens. Next up, we have a match between Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross. The match was garbage. I hated it, and I hate Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross still has that one expression. The long hair doesn't suit him at all. The match basically is Karrion Kross beating the hell out of Xavier. But because Karrion Kross is presented as a complete moron, there comes a point where he hits like a little forearm to a jumping Xavier Woods, and then he takes forever to pick him up. Xavier puts him in a small package and pins this jobber. After this happens, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are kind of celebrating, which was really stupid because, you know, faces and even heels are typically smart enough to run out of the ring when they face insurmountable odds, right? Like Rey Mysterio, every time he wins a match, he knows that the guy that he just pinned probably wants to whoop his ass. And because Rey Mysterio is not presented as a guy that can whoop your ass, he always runs out and he just celebrates while retreating, right? The New Day just stay there and they get their asses whooped by, you know, the AOP and Karrion Kross, right? And then Karrion Kross keeps extending his hand to Xavier Woods and he says, do something, there's 5 of us. Like, well, what was the point of even saying that? Like, we already know what just happened. But anyways, they're trying to, like, attract Xavier Woods. In my personal opinion, I had to blow a mosquito away. In my personal opinion, that's kind of like a waste, right? Because you're putting yourself in this situation where this thing should have already, like, been done with, right? This is the only thing that AOP and Karrion Kross are doing, the Final Testament, the only thing they've been doing since WrestleMania. And it's been 2 or 3 months and, like, there's still no resolution. He already beat Kofi Kingston. Now he wrestled Xavier Woods. So what's next? You know? Quite frankly, I don't care what's next, right? Gotta blow away these mosquitoes. That's the cost of being hater outdoors, motherfuckers. Next up, we have a match. It's Zelina Vega versus fucking Liv Morgan. Zelina Vega is wearing another wig, and Liv Morgan has hair extensions, which in my opinion makes this match look goofy. It's just 2 people running around, and their hair is just flying everywhere. It just looks silly. It's like, if you're going to take the sport seriously, you wouldn't wear a wig. You know what I mean? You wouldn't, right? Like, if you watch, let's say, UFC, the girls always, like, you know, get braids so their hair doesn't get in the way. You know, this is part of taking it seriously. If you don't want to take it seriously, be my guest. But if you don't take it seriously, I'm not going to take it seriously, right? Dominic Mysterio comes out, prompting the question of what the hell is happening here, right? I can no longer tolerate this, personally. If Dominic Mysterio's goal is to basically remove himself from the situation with Liv Morgan, he can just do that by not speaking to her. You know, it's really that simple. But obviously, that's not what the storyline is. Damian Priest beforehand tells Dominic, I just talked to Rhea, blah, 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 blee, blee, blee. They go into the Judgment Day clubhouse, and the Judgment Day jobbers are playing video games. Finn Balor tells Damian that he's changed. That's what happened, right? Then Seth Rollins comes out, and he cuts a promo about how he wants to be champion, and if he doesn't win, what does this mean for his legacy? It means fucking nothing for his legacy. It's just another title match. He's lost many of them, right? So he goes out there, and he talks about that. Finn Balor comes out, and Finn Balor says, blah, 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 blee, 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 it's your fault that Damian Priest changed. Damian Priest comes out. Basically, this leads to a brawl, and it ends with Damian Priest hitting the chokeslam on Seth after Seth does the curb stomp, or sorry, the stomp on Finn Balor, right? So Damian Priest is still on board. It's really, really weird. The Judgment Day just feels childish. And honestly, it doesn't make any sense to me that fucking Damian Priest is the champion. It just doesn't feel right. Then we have Zoe Stark versus Ivy Nile versus Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai is another girl with extensions. So I'm starting to like Zoe Stark because she has normal hair. She's like the only person in this company that has a normal haircut. You know, it's not a great haircut, but it's a normal haircut. So she wins, and I'm happy about that, based solely on the haircuts. Then we are treated to the new Wyatt family package, right? It's the same exact thing as last week. To be honest, I didn't really pay attention. I couldn't really focus on it because they have all these like little sound effects, right? But long story short, Bray Wyatt is dead. So now Bo Dallas, if they even call him that, I guess they do call him that, Bo Dallas is now like gonna, you know, carry on his legacy. But then Bo Dallas goes into like essentially a Bray Wyatt type rant about how I am the Redeemer and people will pay. And that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why don't you just sit the fuck down and say it? I'm here because X and I'm gonna do Y. But none of this happens. It's just another video. Furthermore, why is the Wyatt family giving these little tidbits of information via VHS? Why not just give one entire VHS that we have to watch, right? It's almost as if they know that production needs to have commercials. So that kind of really takes away the allure of the Wyatt6, right? Next up, we have Ray versus Dominic. Ray wins. He uses a pretty interesting way to do the 619 and hits a little, you know, splash type thing, a little vaulting splash, and beats Dominic. The story of this, once again, is Dominic and Liv Morgan. Now, while I like this, I'd like for this to move on to the next step. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I'm a fan of multiple segments in one night showing the development of a storyline. But the key word there is development. The storyline has to develop. And thus far, nothing has developed. We're in the same situation we were 4 weeks ago. So I'm getting a little bit annoyed. Then we have Braun Breaker. He comes out and he confronts Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, for some reason, says that Braun Breaker is stupid. There's no reason to say this at all, but he does. Braun Breaker spears him immediately. Then he goes for a big spear. They have a little back and forth. They end up in the ring. Sami goes for the haluva kick, but Braun spears him again. As I said before, Braun Breaker should have beaten Gunther. They didn't want to bury Gunther, so he's going to have to whoop Sami Zayn's ass instead. In my personal opinion, the match should go as follows. The bell rings, spear, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Sami Zayn can then go away for 5 months. I don't care. Braun Breaker is obviously the future. I don't want him to be Intercontinental Champion because I think that's below him. But it seems like they're putting him in this program, so he might as well be the Intercontinental Champion. Next up, we have the triple threat match, Drew versus Sheamus versus Ilya Dragunov, right? It doesn't really matter. Basically, he hits Sheamus with a Claymore and joins the Money in the Bank. Now, Drew could be a good Money in the Bank winner, but also Drew could not be a good Money in the Bank winner. I'm actually excited for Money in the Bank, the match itself. The pay-per-view I don't really care about, but the match itself is interesting because you don't know who's going to be the winner, right? Like, there's a few people that it could be. It could obviously be Drew, right? It could obviously be Jey Uso. Now, I don't think it's going to be a SmackDown guy because clearly SmackDown is like Roman Reigns' domain. So, you know, we don't really care about anyone potentially cashing in on Cody, right? They're going to cash in on the Raw champion. So I would guess it's going to be Jey Uso or Drew McIntyre. Probably Drew because he's just more of like a relevant wrestler, and maybe he cashes in and CM Punk screws him again or something. But there are opportunities for other people. Carmelo Hayes is there, right? Maybe he wins and he comes on Raw and cashes. Who the fuck knows, right? So I'm excited about that because the Money in the Bank serves a similar function to the Royal Rumble in that a star could be made, right? Typically, that's not what happens, but it could happen, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Beyond that, I don't really give a rat's ass. This Raw was boring. Nothing really happened. The few people that are interesting, maybe like, you know, you got Braun Breaker, of course. Ludwig Kaiser had a little vignette. There's something there. I don't know how to explain it. Ludwig Kaiser looks great, right? Like, he's in great shape. He can cut a promo. And it's good that he's getting this, like, singles push. I assume that Imperium is now permanently over. But, you know, nevertheless, like, there's something there with Ludwig Kaiser. So he's in a program with Sheamus. We'll see how that pans out. But, you know, Ludwig Kaiser, I guess, is someone that we could look out for. But beyond that, it just feels like a bunch of jobbers. And quite honestly, Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins, I don't care what happens. Like, I hate to say it, but this is an opportunity for someone to do an immediate cash-in. Because who cares? But if you do that, then you get rid of, like, the allure of being Mr. Money in the Bank. If it were up to me, I'd have Chad Gable win. But since he's kind of on the back foot now, and he's kind of a cuck, I don't see that happening. Nevertheless, if he has a good showing, I'm all for it. And with that being said, I don't know where we're going to go with this, but, you know, it wasn't a horrible Raw, but I give it like a 4 out of 10. It did not meet the threshold to make me want to watch next week. Now, I probably still will, so I can do a review for you guys, but it didn't meet the threshold, and that's all I got to say about that. Cuckolds.